Geographically, historically, Dokdo belonged to Korea. I count myself fortunate to be in your company. I want to acknowledge our effort to continue to heritage of our ancestors. Thanks to you and your support for the Dokdo petition. Our mission is moving steadily forward. I'm happy to share that we have made great progress preparing to meet Google. You can help our campaign by reminding Eric Smith, chairman of Google, with the letters stressing how importance of this issue. Dokdo belongs to Korea. Google Maps must reinstate Dokdo's name. Thank you for your time. Please enjoy 2015 KAJA Awards Night. Thank you.
2015년 최고 커뮤니티 리더상 마이크 혼다. 귀하는 탁월한 비전과 리더십으로 한인 커뮤니티를 향한 헌신적 봉사를 해왔으며 하원 위안부 결의안 121번과 위안부 결의안 이행 촉구 내용이 달린 (2015년) 최고 커뮤니티 리더상 에릭 마. 귀하는 탁월한 비전과 리더십으로 한인 커뮤니티를 향한 헌신적 봉사를 해왔으며 샌프란시스코 위안부 기림비 결의안 통과에 쾌거를 이루어 인권 회복의 측면에서 베이 지역을 통째로 바꾼 진정한 정치인으로 한인 사회를 빛내주었기에 최고 커뮤니티 리더상을 수여합니다. 이하 동문. 샌프란시스코 위안부 기림비 결의안 통과에 쾌거를 이루어 인권 회복의 측면에서 베이 지역을 바꾼 진정한 중국 커뮤니티의 리더로 한인 사회를 빛내주었기에 최고 커뮤니티 리더상을 수여합니다. 이하 동문. (2015년) 최고 커뮤니티 리더상 릴리안 싱. 귀하는 탁월한 비전과 리더십으로 한인 커뮤니티를 향한 헌신적 봉사를 해왔으며 샌프란시스코 위안부 기림비 통과에 쾌거를 이루어 인권 회복의 측면에서 베이 지역을 바꾼 진정한 중국 커뮤니티의 리더로 한인 사회를 빛내주었기에 커뮤니티 리더상을 수여합니다. 이하 동문.
네, 이분들이 2015년도 상을 수상하신 분들입니다. 다음은 마지막이지만 가장 중요한 Outstanding Achievement Award가 있겠습니다. Presented to Yesun Shin for your visionary guidance and support to the Silicon Valley Korean Culture Center. Silicon Valley Korean Culture Center Director Kameo Jung, November 13, 2015 at Media Awards Night. Thank you so much and congratulations. 감사합니다. 수고 박수 보내주시면 감사하겠습니다.
American Media Group. I want to also take this opportunity to thank all of your awardees here. Nice to see my friends from San Francisco, Eric Ma and Judge Tang. Lillian Sing was not there, but our Congressman Mike Honda here. So it's really an honor and privilege to be here representing you in the state of California. With that, I'd like to invite the KAJA and the Korean American Media Group representative to come up here to receive the certificate of appreciation from the state of California.
우리들의 감사한 생과 아름다운 삶을 위해서 축배를 들겠습니다. 축배는 우리들의 아름다운 삶과 감사를 위한 것입니다. 이 차에 마침 축배 들기에 딱 좋은 제 오늘 너무너무 딱 축배 들기 좋은 그래가지고 제가 어느 때보다도 더 행복합니다. 이 잔을 들고 우리 다 같이 축배를 들겠습니다. 우리들의 인생을 위하여 축배
Would you only go ahead and come up and
티셔츠를 입고 침묵 시위 등을 많이 했습니다. 그분들의 노고에 보답하기 위해서 인권의 날로 오늘 정했고요.
Yeah, I wanted to present to you this much what I have done in the last 70 years as the first Asian immigrant to be hired by a mainstream newspaper. That was in 1958. I was the first Asian immigrant to be hired by a mainstream newspaper. Although yellow single men came to Rocky Shore, California, in search of their Kansen, gold mountain. I am just in a position to echo what our great Martin Luther King, 도산 안창호, and another liberator, Reverend Hwang Sa-yong, told a group of slaves in Yucatan to organize a branch of Korean National Association. In what he told these liberated slaves, 장하다, magnificent. You see, now the media, the ethnic media have been present for the 100 years. The mainstream media have defined our destiny by their pressing on the public perception. So ever since the California's every white newspapers, every politician, especially the progressive politicians, and every political party, every labor union have, through their propaganda, defined our ancestors here who built California. So what I'm trying to say is that I am witnessing literally the breakthrough historical moment right here. What happened, it was beyond our imagination that the San Francisco Board of Supervisors unanimously passed the memorial for comfort women. And also this is a place where the young third generation Chinese, Japanese, and Korean Americans came to defense, they came out of their own tribal boxes of Chinese, Koreans, and Japanese. They formed the defense committee to help defend and rescue a Korean boy, mixed up Korean boy from death row. It took 10 years to do it. But what I'm telling you is that I'm supposed to speak about the media. We are in a dangerous time now, even after 150 years in America. Now, all the prestige newspapers are making us a second Jews. I see in the horizon rising anti-Semitism. We are becoming the second Jews. There is anti-Semitism coming. And it is about time that Japanese, Chinese, American, Koreans, Philippines, Latinos, they have to speak up. The Asian American ethnic media have been kept quiet, and the media have perpetuated 100 years to make us yellow peril. And it is about time that our ethnic media our ethnic media, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, and Filipinos, had they banded together, we may be able to prevent mass incarceration of Japanese Americans. And I'm not joking. It is about time, because Asian Americans have been left out of national discourse for 150 years. And who are the enemy? Our enemy is us. We met our enemy because we are too damn quiet. We kept silent. And they defined us. Still, our public perception is we are ambiguous. We are uneasy. We have a double loyalties. And for instance, a week ago, New York Times had a big story about Asian Americans have become rich, highest income tax. Asian Americans have literally become most affluent family. They have had the highest job occupation, and they have the highest SAT scores. Literally, they have made Asians a second Jew. And this is a very dangerous time we have. We have to speak up. It's a dangerous time because we all immigrant from south of border and east of the Mississippi. We are all living in a killing field. We have succeeded. Two parties have succeeded, making our center of the city a killing field. We made a killing field in Vietnam, Cambodia. We have in the last 30 years. Every city has become killing field. And the two parties are responsible. And our children have lived in the killing field. And that's why I think it is time that we speak up today. Otherwise, we have never learned the lesson. For instance, grandchildren of the Nazi death camp, they spent 40 years to demonstrate that there was a Holocaust. They went to Germany. Every grandchildren of survivors of Holocaust have kept to prove that there was a Holocaust. So they, right now in the city, every city, we have a museum of tolerance. It was a creation of grandchildren. And the grandchildren of a concentration camp in America saw the sunset. They did not stay silent. They went all out to prove that the federal government has a big lie. Before Pearl Harbor, they investigated Japanese Americans have been loyal. But after Pearl Harbor, federal government made a complete fraud. And they had put 120,000 children and the parents in the concentration camp. But they took 40 years to bring truth, honor, and compensations. 1988 is the greatest historical moment. It took 40 years. Okay, 1992, we had a first Made in America program. Media instigated bogus race war, pitting blacks against Koreans. Although it was the greatest multiracial rebellion against the 30 years of denuding the killing field, the oasis in the city, all the jobs were sent out overseas. And they literally made South Los Angeles a killing field. And after we had America's first program, where black and Koreans became the conflict, but it was a goddamn lie. It was not the black and the Korean conflict. It was a murder issue, murder general issue. The people are just fed up, and it was goes. It was not Koreans who had the highest death row. Latinos, they've been born to 5,000. You know, my point is, Latinos had the biggest victim, but the media is scared to bring out the Latino victims. So what I'm telling you is that Saigu, April 29th, it was not a black rebellion. That's a big lie. So I'm telling you, it is the grandchildren of your generation to bring. Every bureaucracy has a secret document right now. So the grandchildren, this is a good beginning. We have a first pan-Asian American movement right here with the Chorso Lee and the Comfort movement. This is a historic. That the Asians, the Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, Filipinos, they came out of a tribal box, liberated themselves, worked together. So I'm not joking, my friend. I think this is the beginning, and we have 40 years to bring the truth, honor to the victims, tens of thousands of victims of Koreans and Japanese who have been mistaken as Koreans and Chinese. We have to bring truth, honor, and compensation. Thank you.
다음은 이 앙상블에서 고향의 봄의 축하 연주 클라리넷이 있겠습니다. There's will be conversions with clarinet from Lee Ensemble and hear the song Spring of Hometown.
I love your passion. Harmony Lee's power was transformational as well. Let me try to keep myself together here. Her voice and her stories move me. I think it changed many of us to demand justice, but also to demand compassion for people. I was just moved to tears when she came before one of our committee meetings and then our board of supervisors, or several times, and in press conferences and rallies. And she said to some of the Japanese ultranationalists and denialists who had flown out to oppose our memorial, and it called her a liar. But she said to their faces, "We hate the crimes that were done to us, but we do not hate the people. The truth will come out no matter what you do." And despite opposition from Japanese ultranationalists and their local allies, I'm extremely proud that the Korean American organizations allied with our Comfort Women Justice Coalition and our movement succeeded in winning unanimous approval by our entire 11-member Board of Supervisors on September 22nd to make sure that we're going to establish the memorial in San Francisco.
Your work, your organization, your organizing, your efforts had an impact. Now it's global. Now people know more about what's going on, about sexual slavery, the 성노예. I think that's the way you say it, right? Sexual slavery. It's not comfortable. And so we have to understand that you have made an impact, a global impact. But we need to continue to do this community by community, city by city, so that we start to educate the people in this country as to what happened in Asia, because we don't teach our kids what happened in Asia during World War II. We know a lot about Germany and Europe, but very little about Asia. You have to ask yourself why. And I can only point to one thing right now, and Judge Sing knows all about this. When we fought, or we protested the 1951 peace treaty between the United States and Japan, and it was the 50th year, was it? Or? It was the 54th. 54. And we protested because we knew that there was a lot of things in the peace treaty that needs to be examined again. And I think that, the issues around the POWs and the baton and the US POWs, I think that was covered in the peace treaty. The Japanese government uses the peace treaty to say, the rape of Nanjing and the comfort women are all taken care of by other things. And we say, no, we don't accept that. And so we have to continue to raise our voices and continue this global awareness for the 200,000 World War II sex slaves, the 성황리에, the so-called comfort women. On their behalf, on their spirit, and their dignity, we must continue this work. Let me say one thing about our Harmony sister. She came over and she testified in 2007, and she made a very strong but poignant comment. And she said that if the government cannot apologize to me, then give me back my youth. Give me back the springtime of my life. And I remember that because it was so powerful, and she said it so convincingly that no one can ever doubt that she was, playing around. This whole movement started, however, in 1991 in Japan in the courts. There were 3 Harmony that went to court and said they wanted to have recognition, they wanted an apology, they wanted compensation. And one of the women who identified herself, her bravery and her flame of justice was sparked by Kim Ha-sun. She was the first survivor who brought light to this issue and made it more public. So we owe her that thanks for having the strength to step forward in public and say, I've been a victim and I want an apology. Because in the beginning, when they were used as sex slaves, it was a thing of shame. They couldn't go home. Many committed suicide. But she, at a certain time in her life, said, enough is enough. Japan owes me an apology. And so she went to Japan to want the government of Japan to formally acknowledge, apologize, and accept historical responsibility in a clear and unequivocal way. Right now, be clear now. Abe will say to everybody in this world, I've apologized, we've apologized. But you have to look at the wording. It is ambiguous, it's not clear, it's wishy-washy. And Prime Minister Abe had 2 wonderful opportunities to say a very clear apology. First time when he came to Congress, and he was invited to speak to the joint session of Congress, to the House of Representatives and Senators. But he passed it up. He did not take that opportunity. And the second time, he had an opportunity when he addressed the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. 2 opportunities, he passed it up. I know one thing, he knows his responsibility. I'm convinced of it. I know that he has to do this. And I also know that he will try to outlive the grandmothers, the Harmony. And we're not going to allow him to do that. So we have to continue the pressure upon Prime Minister Abe and his government. And we have to do it through our churches, through the women organizations, and through our youngsters, and talk to the people in Japan, women to women, church to church, scholars to scholars, to tell the population that this is necessary. Because when the Japanese people understand what happened, and when they learn, they're compassionate people. They will say, government, please do the right thing. We know that the Crown Prince of Japan, Naruhito, he said publicly also, Prime Minister Abe, speak of history humbly. He was sending him a message, and we need to push that message forward through the kinds of works we do. We know that the Harmony, every Wednesday in front of the Japanese embassy in Seoul, they stand in front of the embassy and they protest, and they say, give us an apology. We need to know that, we need to understand that. And we need to also share it with our young people. So that our young people will pick up the torch and say the same thing, to move forward and speak up and ask for what the 200,000 girls and women in Asia Pacific who suffered at the hands of the military system, they need that apology. And so, time is running short for them. There's less than 100 survivors in the world. It's only 47 harmony Kung women in Korea, and 8 passed away earlier this year. It's critical that they get their long overdue justice now. And I firmly believe that the government of Japan must make sure that its true history is being taught to future generations. And so, on this difficult issue, we have a personal responsibility to make sure that we teach each one, we reach to each one, and we preach to each one about this necessity for an apology. It's no small thing, because if Japan apologizes, then Japan's position will rise in the eyes of Korea, China, and other Asian countries. For me, if he doesn't apologize, I cannot trust him. I cannot trust the government of Japan, because they cannot, and they do not have the courage to do the right thing. And so that the justice that the Kung women need, our sisters need, is long overdue. So we must demand that. And let me close with this. We moved through the issue of Nanjing. We moved through the issue of Kung women. We moved through the issue of unification of Korea, North and South Korea. When we can do all those things, we will set the history of Asia and of Japan correctly. We need to continue to do that. We need to unify North and South, because it's about family unification. Our families are there. We need to tell our young people, this is important. We need to teach them also, our own youngsters, that this is important. And so we need to move forward and make sure that we do that. And so we all move forward as we did tonight. And what's that yell that the military say? 같이 갑시다. 같이 갑시다. Right? Thank you. 같이 갑시다.